Every child in the world imagines that its fantasy world is unique to itself. Psychiatry knows that the joys and terrors of private fantasies are a common heritage shared by all mankind. Fears, guilt, terrors, and shames could be interchanged from one man to the next, and none would notice the difference. The therapy department at Combined Hospital had recorded thousands of emotional tapes and boiled them down to one all-inclusive, all-terrifying performance in nightmare theater. Foyle awoke, panting and sweating, and never knew that he had awakened. He was in the clutch of the serpent-haired, bloody-eyed Eumenides. He was pursued, entrapped, precipitated from heights, burned, flayed, bowstringed, vermin-covered, devoured. He screamed. He ran. The radar hobblefield in the theater clogged his steps and turned them into the ghastly slow motion of dream running. And through the cacophony of grinding, shrieking, moaning, pursuing that assailed his ears, muttered the thread of a persistent voice. Where is Nomad? 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 Vorka! Foyle croaked. Vorka! He had been inoculated by his own fixation. His own nightmare had rendered him immune. Where is Nomad? Where have you left Nomad? What happened to Nomad? Where is Nomad? Vorga! Foyle shouted. Vorga! 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 From the control booth, Dagenham swore. The head of psychiatry, monitoring the projectors, glanced at the clock. 1 minute and 45 seconds, Saul. He can't stand much more. He's got to break. Give him the final effect. They buried Foyle alive, slowly, inexorably, hideously. He was carried down into black depths and enclosed in stinking slime that cut off light and air. He slowly suffocated while a distant voice boomed, Where is Nomad? Where have you left Nomad? You can escape if you find Nomad. Where is Nomad? But Foyle was back aboard Nomad in his lightless, airless coffin, floating comfortably between deck and roof. He curled into a tight fetal ball and prepared to sleep. He was content. He would escape. He would find Vorga. Impervious bastard, Dagenham swore. Has anyone ever resisted nightmare theater before, Fritz? Not many, you're right. That's an uncommon man, Saul. He's got to be ripped open. All right, to hell with any more of this. We'll try the Meagle Mood next. Are the actors ready? All ready. Then let's go. There are 6 directions in which delusions of grandeur can run. The Meagle, short for megalomania, mood, was therapy's dramatic diagnosis technique for establishing and plotting the particular course of megalomania. Foyle awoke in a luxurious 4-poster bed. He was in a bedroom hung with brocade papered in velvet. He glanced around curiously. Soft sunlight filtered through lattice windows. Across the room, a valet was quietly laying out clothes. Hey! Foyle grunted. The valet turned. Good morning, Mr. Fulmiar, he murmured. What? It's a lovely morning, sir. I've laid out the brown twill and the cordovan pump, sir. What's the matter, you? The valet gazed at Foyle curiously. Is anything wrong, Mr. Fulmiar? What do you call me, man? By your name, sir. My name is Foyle. Foyle struggled up in the bed. No, it's not. It's Foyle, Gully Foyle. That's my name, me. The valet bit his lip. 1 moment, sir. He stepped outside and called. Then he murmured. A lovely girl in white came running into the bedroom and sat down on the edge of the bed. She took Foyle's hands and gazed into his. Her face was distressed. Darling, 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 she whispered. You aren't going to start all that again, are you? The doctor swore you were over it. Start what again? All that Gulliver Foyle nonsense about your being a common sailor and... I am Gully Foyle. That's my name, Gully Foyle. Sweetheart, you're not. That's just a delusion you've had for weeks. You've been overworking and drinking too much. Been Gully Foyle all my life, me. Yes, I know, darling. That's the way it seemed to you. But you're not. You're Geoffrey Formule. The Geoffrey Formule. You're... Oh, what's the sense telling you? Get dressed, my love. You've got to come downstairs. Your office has been frantic. Foyle permitted the valet to dress him and went downstairs in a daze. The lovely girl, who evidently adored him, conducted him through a giant studio littered with drawing tables, easels, and half-finished canvases. She took him into a vast hall filled with desks, filing cabinets, stock tickers, clerks, secretaries, office personnel. They entered a lofty laboratory cluttered with glass and chrome. Burners flickered and hissed. Bright-colored liquids bubbled and churned. There was a pleasant odor of interesting chemicals and odd experiments. "What's all this?" Foyle asked. The girl seated Foyle in a plush armchair alongside a giant desk littered with interesting papers scribbled with fascinating symbols. On some, Foyle saw the name Geoffrey Fourmile, scrawled in an imposing, authoritative signature. "There's some crazy kind of mistake is all," Foyle began. The girl silenced him. "Here's Dr. Reagan. He'll explain." An impressive gentleman with a crisp, comforting manner came to Foyle, touched his pulse, inspected his eyes, and nodded in satisfaction. "Good," he said. "Excellent. You are close to complete recovery, Mr. Fourmile. Now, will you listen to me for a moment, eh?" Foyle nodded. "You remember nothing of the past. You have only a false memory. You were overworked. You are an important man, and there were too many demands on you. You started to drink heavily a month ago. No denial is useless. You drank. You lost yourself. You became convinced you were not the famous Jeff Fourmile. An infantile attempt to escape responsibility. You imagined you were a common spaceman named Foyle. Gulliver Foyle, yes, with an odd number. Gully Foyle. AS128/127:006. That's me. It is not you. This is you." Dr. Reagan waved at the interesting offices they could see through the transparent glass wall. "You can only recapture the true memory if you discharge the old. All this glorious reality is yours, if we can help you discard the dream of the spaceman." Dr. Reagan leaned forward, his polished spectacles glittering hypnotically. "Reconstruct this false memory of yours in detail, and I will tear it down. Where do you imagine you left the spaceship Nomad? How did you escape? Where do you imagine the Nomad is now?" Foyle wavered before the romantic glamour of the scene, which seemed to be just within grasp. "It seems to me I left Nomad out in—" He stopped short. A devil face peered at him from the highlights reflected in Dr. Reagan's spectacles. A hideous tiger mask with Nomad blazoned across the distorted brow. Foyle stood up. "Liars!" he growled. "It's real, me. This is a phony. What happened to me is real. I'm real, me." Saul Dagenham walked into the laboratory. "All right," he called. "Strike. It's a washout."